special guest karon hapuna. They're also homeschooling students and they will share how their journey went and share some mga nuggets of wisdom that they learned as they homeschool.
So let me introduce to you from the Cebu Catholic Homeschoolers, Laura Sofia Hynson, Carmel Grace Fulache, Pio Gerard Antiquina, and from Living Pupil Homeschool, Summer Mark Graff, and she is a first-time homeschooler. So hello guys,
Hello.
how are you?
Hi,
Good
good
Hello, we're fine.
afternoon.
morning, good afternoon, Gerard and Liliana.
Good afternoon.
Doing good?
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Now, we have the first question. What do you like best in homeschooling? Like, what's so very nice in homeschooling?
Human
There,
age,
Kuya Pio. Ate Carmel, how about you?
there are four things I like best in homeschooling. First, learning life skills. Second, less social pressure. Third, more time with family. And fourth, spiritual growth. First, part of our homeschooling is washing our own clothes, cooking for either breakfast or dinner, cleaning the car, cleaning the CR. Third, part-time jobs such as starting my small online business and facilitating in company team buildings and trainings. Second, due to the fact of having no classmates, social pressure is lesser. On the academic side, it is good to have as much time needed for one to fully learn. Constantly thinking of having peers does not always help. On the personal side, in homeschooling, there is no expectation of acting the same as the rest of the class. I can freely be myself without the fear of missing out or worrying about pleasing others. Third is having more time with family, especially in today's generation where children seem to have better relationships with their friends than with their own family. In homeschooling, parents are building a strong and loving foundation for their children, which is very powerful as they continue to grow. Fourth is the spiritual growth, which most likely is developed at home with the influence of the parents. One of the many strong points in homeschooling is knowing what the child is learning. If kids are at regular schools most of the time, what they hear or see at their schools influence their beliefs, which sometimes can be out of the parents' control. Parents do not know what exactly their own children are being taught at regular schools. It is salient that while children are still under the care of their parents, they must be introduced to God and His goodness.
Yeah. Wow, that's very nice. Now to Kuya Pio. I see Kuya Pio is not yet. Oh, he's here now. Okay.
sorry, excuse me.
Okay. You can continue.
I'm sorry, what was the question again?
What do you like best in homeschooling?
Okay. For me, been homeschooled already for more than 10 years.
Wow.
Learned to appreciate
wow.
five things. That is the flexibility of homeschooling, the deep relationship with my family, my solitude as a homeschooler, and my independence. So my flexibility means I can bring my schoolwork wherever I go, and I can adjust my schedule based on my family priorities. So an example would be when my grandparents from either Leyte or Zamboanga del Norte would come visit in Cebu. I could adjust my time schedule of my studies, and I can spend at least half the day with them. And regarding my strong relationship with my family, I've learned to, better engage in a good conversation with an adult, such as my mom and dad. Actually, personally, I'm more comfortable engaging in a conversation with adults instead of my peers. I also My relationship with my siblings as well has also deepened in a way that we know our personal interests. We also care for each other. It's more like since my siblings are like very young. The youngest is we're 10 years apart, and the second to the youngest is 8 years. So I'm basically a very old kuya already.
Mm.
So another thing is my solitude. What I mean is solitude is that I have a little bit, that's what you call it, ambivert. So I'm a bit of an introvert as well. So I like to appreciate me being alone with my books, since I love to read, especially anything that has to do with theology or history, and also help me hone my interests into music, which is classical music, and what else? Classical music and Gregorian chant, and also folk music of various cultures throughout the world. And lastly, I like to say something about my independence. Because of homeschooling, it has taught me how to survive in a way, survive in this world of liberal liberal moral values. Being born in a Catholic conservative family, uh, because I'm homeschooled, my mom taught me uh, cording, taught me the teachings of the Catholic Church, doctrine by doctrine, and also I was indoctrinated in some way or taught well by my parents regarding my Catholic faith. Also, because of my independence, I learned to commute at an early age, 13. So I would commute to places like Labangon, just already pretty far, Compostela, Talisay, even at the young age of 13. And also, I got to travel to another country without a parent, without my mom and dad. So that was really challenging for me. Um, Challenging in a way that I was one of two students who had no parent. So we struggled, but we succeeded in taking care of ourselves. And those are the that I learned to appreciate in my 10 plus years of homeschooling.
Mm. That was very nice, Kuya Pio. Now we'll move on to Ate Laura. How about you?
What I like most about homeschooling is that you can work at your own pace and time frame, and you can adapt it to your needs, whether that be how long you study or finding time to study in a busy schedule. Another thing that I like is that the main focus is truly about learning, not just math, science, English, but also very important life skills that you're going to use when you get older. And also that you can have time to grow in faith and in your God given talents and in your hobbies. And another thing is I feel like I got more meaningful friendships and memories that I made through homeschooling than I did in traditional school. And lastly is that I got to learn and spend a lot more time through homeschooling with my family.
Mm, that was very inspiring. Now for our last one, for Summer. How about you? What do you like best in homeschooling, Summer?
So, what I love best about homeschooling because I learned new things I didn't really know in the past. For example, nature study, which I really, really love. And in comparing online distance learning and homeschooling, I did not feel oh, okay. I did not feel overwhelmed, negative vibes, or overworked.
Wow. So let me ask you, Summer. Since you are a first, you're a first time homeschooler. I would like to ask you, how was the transition from traditional school to homeschooling?
So I transferred to homeschool because I was too overwhelmed with the amount of homework and worksheets I have. So I would be up at 7 a.m. and sleep around at 9 p.m. because of this. And my eyesight got bad and I had to wear glasses. I didn't I did not even feel like I learned anything. And for those reasons, my parents and I decided to homeschool me.
Wow.
Mm, I
Ah,
agree.
I see. Yeah. It's really hard, schooling online or I mean, I've heard so much about them. So,
Same. Now, for the last question, what advice will you give to parents and students who would like to homeschool, who would plan to homeschool? Ate Carmel, how about you, Ate Carmel?
Um, can you please repeat the question, Lily? I'm sorry.
Okay, it's
My
okay.
internet was low.
Uh, what advice will you give to your to parents and students who would like to plan about to homeschool?
Oh, to the parents, the first and most significant and probably the most common advice I'm going to give is to always pray to God. God knows what it is like to be a parent, and He knows what it is like to homeschool. Second would be not be afraid to homeschool your children, for you're fulfilling your job as parents to educate them as rightfully as possible. Third, choose the right and best curriculum for them by asking experienced homeschooling parents like our Cebu Catholic homeschooling moms. Fourth, take advantage of the time you're about to have with them by guiding and teaching them not just worldly life skills, but things that are important and beneficial for the soul that will eventually lead them to heaven. To the students, again, always pray. Obey your parents, take the challenge of facing difficult tasks with honesty, and offer them up to God. Take the time to read books that are helpful for your salvation. After all, the most important thing to do in this world is to know, love, and serve God. To both parents and students, live up to the saying, homeschooling for sainthood. This may be a tall order, but Matthew chapter 19, verse 26 says, with God all things are possible. In our inadequacies and weaknesses, God our Father is our strength and our greatest teacher. We just need His presence always, for He says in John chapter 15, verse 5, I am the vine and you are the branches. Apart from me, you can do nothing.
Mm, that's very nice to take note of. Thank you very much. Now to Kuya Pio, what advice would you give to parents and students who plan to homeschool?
What advice? What advice can I give? Think it's to take the opportunity. I mean, now is the perfect opportunity to homeschool your children now in a pandemic. Um, I think the first thing I would say to parents is do not be afraid. Be not afraid to homeschool your children. Um, my parents, when they first homeschooled me back in 2010, they were not in a way discouraged, but there was a negative, what do you call perspective from my grandparents. You know, they were doubting, oh, how am I supposed to get my diploma? Am I gonna learn anything? Do my parents know how to teach? What will be in the environment? How will my social skills be? Will I still be able to interact with other people? Um, but of course, now that it's been 10 years, I proved them wrong. I proved them wrong. Homeschool is really, the advice I would give to parents is to expose your child into much exposure, of course, with a limit as much as you can. You can expose your child to sports. You can expose your child to church, church services. You can expose your child to choir, like anything that interests your child that has anything to do with social interaction with his peers, his or her peers. And if you don't know how to teach your child, it's normal. It's really normal. At least from my mom, she had experience. She was a guidance counselor back then and teacher. But I've also heard of other parents that were discouraged, like, hey, they don't know how to teach your child because they didn't pick up education. They weren't teachers. But I believe in the saying that the parents are the first teachers, and I also believe that they should be the last. It's very, I think it's like considered to be a very fundamental principle that a parent should always teach their child according to, their faith, to the education that they want their child to learn. And also, moreover, you also get to know the environment. You get to control the environment that your child is immersed in. When you put him in the traditional school, it's, I would say, quite the opposite. And also in teaching, you're still discouraged in teaching, you're also learning. You also learn what the child is studying about, and learn to grow with your child until he becomes independent. In my case, I was kind of independent around high school because my mom gave birth to my little siblings. They're now 9 and 7 years old, respectively. Yeah, 9 and 7 years old. So I was, in a way, quite left all alone. I was at first 13 years old. I didn't know what to do. My mom didn't have much time. She had time, but it wasn't as much as I had back in elementary. So, what I did was I survived. I struggled. I taught myself with the books that were provided by my curriculum, CCH Catholic Home Study. And now fast forward 5 years, 5 years or something like that. I've got pretty myself and confident. So I really think and believe, I firmly believe that homeschooling is, it's really the best education you can give to your child. It's the best, like, moral obligation you can give to your child. So that's my advice.
That was really great. That was I agree, Sad. I agree on it. Next, thank you, Kuya Pio. Next is Ate Laura. Um, Advice for parents and students who want to homeschool.
My advice for families is first. My advice for new families is to try to find a rhythm or schedule that works for your family. And for parents, teach and guide your children with love and be patient. It's a hard and long process. So be patient. And for children, learn and listen to your parents with love. And also be patient with them as well. They're trying to give you the best education there is. So give them lots of love and patience. That's all.
Yes, thank you so much, Ate Iya. And last but not least, Summer, how about you? Like, what advice to give for parents and students if they want to start homeschooling? And as for you, you're also like new to homeschooling. So, what do you advise and tips on what to give?
The best thing I really learned while homeschooling is working at your own pace. So that will be my advice to new homeschoolers and to parents who want their children to be homeschooled. When you work on your own pace, there's no pressure at all. You don't need to be overwhelmed and everything becomes easier.
Yeah,
Yes,
wow. So yeah, thank you so much guys. So we learned a lot from your journey and hindi kayo mag-homeschool, no? So it may require commitment, but again, the result outweighs the sacrifices, no? So and if this is your first time if you're a first time homeschooler and we want to affirm you for your perseverance. So come on guys, let's give them a round of applause. So you've been so brave in this new journey, and if you're watching and thinking that if homeschooling is for you and your child, it's a yes. So
Mhm.
okay, daghan kayo benefits basta homeschool ka.
Yes, and kami ang proof, Ana. Thank you to all our guests. And now we are almost reaching the last portion of homeschooling hour. Let